so we don't hear it.
It's a good idea. You know how many times I do interviews and people don't turn off their phones
I know.
or their computer and it's like ding ding, right? I'm like, yeah, thanks, but I don't need to hear the dinging in the background because I don't
Right.
actually want to edit that later. I love it. All right. So, hello and welcome to the Transformational Speakers Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Lomanjek, and I'm excited today because I have a new friend of mine who we will be speaking down in Miami in just 2 short months. So I'm excited to have Tracie Randolph here. She is a mom, a breast cancer survivor, a certified health coach, certified life coach, personal trainer, best-selling international author, speaker, and television host. You know, that's just on her side, right? Her passion for health and nutrition, fitness, and overall holistic wellness was born from her own struggles with breast cancer. She perceives having cancer as one of the most amazing events that happened in her life, leading to her life purpose to point towards others towards optimal health. As a life coach, a health coach, her mission is to help women leaders become lean, fit, and forever feeling sexy by setting their mindset to transform their body. She motivates her clients to cultivate positive health choices. She understands intimately how challenging yet satisfying it can be to make sustainable life changes that have a lasting impact on overall health and wellness. Tracie is the owner and CEO of the Reset Coach, Reset Global Group, and 2 television shows on demand, The Whole Living Show and The Femme Talk on E360 TV network. Her program, the 90-day Mind, Body, and Reset, a whole living model, was born out of her desire to effect sustainable lifestyle changes that promotes a healthy mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. That sounds so good. And forgive the noise in the background. There is a train here, so that I can't do anything about.
I love it. No, it's all good.
Thanks.
So I want to know, like, no one ever wakes up in the morning, you know, when they're 5 and says, I can't wait to be a life coach or a health coach, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, I know how hard it is with cancer. My mom survived an incurable cancer when I was 15. So I do get that. It does wake you up and change your life. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so it caught me by surprise. Though I was saying, I need a break, I need a break, I need a break because I was in corporate America. And at the time, just had a very demanding job and a single mom as well. And I know that my lifestyle at that time, the stress of life and, not really taking the time to take care of myself is what brought on the cancer. So, once it came about and after I got over the shock of things, right? Because it was a shocker for me. I didn't feel like I was doing that much until I really started to dive into it and say, okay, I'm really not taking care of myself. So this is how it happened. But I started to research nutrition and exercise and environment and what it all meant to our bodies and how it affects our bodies. And I really started to geek out on it. I was like, this is amazing. And I said, I really want to help women who were just like me, who were or are just like me, who are in, that corporate space or running their businesses and really not taking the time to make sure that they're living healthy. And I want to prevent them from getting to the diagnosis that I got to, or any other for that matter, be it cancer or diabetes or heart disease, some of the big ones out there that affect so many people when we're just not focused on living a healthy lifestyle. So that's really how it was born. And I was like, this is really the best thing that ever happened to me because it brought me to my purpose. And had I not had breast cancer, I wouldn't have stopped to really take a look at the things that now I really love.
I love that. And I think a lot of people are probably in a similar boat with post-COVID. Like we all kind of have a little PTSD from COVID, and a lot of us lost some people. Our lives became a little bit more, you almost had that little bit of a wake-up call. Like life is short, guys. Like it is time to do what you're here to do. And I think as a global planet, we kind of decided like, okay, there's more than just going to work every single day. And even the ways that things shifted in work, like people are now working from home and things like that, and maybe never go back to an office, right? But everything shifted because people kind of had their own like mortality wake-up call. Like it's right there, and so I definitely think more people can acknowledge that, hopefully before they get a diagnosis, right? Take this
Right.
as your wake up call. Don't wait till you get a diagnosis.
Absolutely. And I hope that people look at COVID as a wake-up call, right? I was born and raised in New Jersey, lived in New Jersey at the time of COVID, and it was a hotbed. New York and New Jersey were a real hotbed for COVID. And I lost a lot of people that I really love. But I think about, had, they lived differently, they could have prevented, leaving here from COVID, because it is a virus and it's much like many other viruses out there. And, we could have prevented a lot of the deaths and the people that we lost. So, when I think about it from that perspective, I hope that COVID was a wake up call for people to start living healthy. So I'm on a mission. To help people get there, because even if you don't have cancer or diabetes or anything, if you just think about, a cold or the flu or, COVID, then that we need to live healthy. We need to do the things that are necessary to take care of our bodies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was deep to me. I lost my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law. So it
Yeah.
was a lot. And I do know, like, my mother-in-law having diabetes and all these other things really contributed to that.
Yeah.
And it's also like, okay, how are we treating the temple we live in? Like,
Yeah.
and I gotta say, I've been pretty bad at this for the last year for sure. I've had a really stressful family life stuff going on. As you can hear, I lost 2 family members, but so many more things. But I know that when I stop and think about it, this is the skin suit I came down here to live in.
Yeah.
And now why am I trashing it? When we're
Yeah.
young, like we're like out midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, get up at 6 a.m., go back to work, do all that. And we just wore our bodies down. But
Yeah.
at the time we could recover. Now I realize like how much longer it takes to recover from any of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. And I think that too plays a part in it, right? When we're in our 20s and even our 30s, we recover a lot faster. Our bodies bounce back a lot faster. And then as we get older, that process slows down. So, if we start early, like I'm teaching my son is 15, and because of all the things that I've learned as a result of having breast cancer, I'm teaching him all those things now so that he can, protect his body now and live a lifestyle that's really healthy and go into the future so that when he gets to the point where he's in his 50s or 60s, he's living a healthy lifestyle already, so we don't think about it in our early stages. We eat what we want, we do what we want, we exercise when we want, and everything's good because we still have a lot of energy.
Yep. And then our bodies go, yeah, not anymore. I can't do that anymore.
Exactly.
So what would you say, being a busy professional, what are probably the biggest pitfalls that you see?
Oh, well, the biggest one is the nutrition piece. That is the biggest piece. And I know people out there have probably heard that, everybody says it's 80% of your health, right? And it truly is. Like if we want to lose weight, if we want to change, or reverse even, some type of diagnosis, you can do that with food first and definitely change things. So I think that's the biggest thing is to start to eat natural, right? If like I always say to people, if you don't know what the ingredients are in something that you're buying, don't buy it, don't get it because there's so many things that are I'm going to say attacking our food and making it unhealthy for our bodies and our bodies aren't able to process it. So if you can change the food first, that's the biggest one.
And what do you think is the biggest, like, I always think about eating the rainbow, right? Like the colors of the rainbow, right? Like that's one of the things that I've always thought about. But what are some really good techniques or kind of like, I mean, and here's the other one, like you hear, oh, you should shop on the outside of the store, right? Like on the last aisle or whatever. And nobody can do that because there's stuff you got to get in other aisles. They just is, right? But what would you suggest as something that people could incorporate and implement today?
I would say first, drink a lot of water. Half your body weight in fluid ounces. Yes. Yes, half your body weight in fluid ounces because our bodies are made up of almost 70% water. So drink a lot of water initially. And then I would say, you can take that rule of thumb on the outside, do most of your shopping. I know it's hard to do all of it, but do most of your shopping on the outer perimeter of the store. And, 50% to 75% fruits and vegetables. right, of your meals. If you can do that, you're on your way to a great start to living healthy.
I love that.
Yeah.
So not only you work on nutrition, but you also work on weight loss and fitness and getting in shape. What are some of the things? I mean, here's me. I'll sit here and work and here, right now my kids are home from, Christmas break, but sometimes I even find it hard to even get up and even stand after been sitting here for so long.
Mhm.
And it's like, what can I do? I mean, sometimes I go for a walk, but I do live in Idaho. It's like 20 degrees outside right now,
Yeah.
and we have some snow. But what are some things some of us busy professionals can do?
Oh my goodness. So I love that you said that. So, there's intermittent fasting, right? Well, I always tell people to do intermittent exercise. So as you're sitting at your desk all day, maybe you get up, you do 10 jumping jacks, right? You sit back down, you work for another hour or two, get back up, you do 10 squats, sit back down, you work for another hour or two, do a couple of burpees, right? I know most people don't like burpees, but it's okay. But you can do like wall sits. There's so many things that you can do. You can do push-ups. There's so many exercises that you can do where you don't need any equipment at all, that's going to give you an effective workout and allow you to get movement throughout your day without taking a lot of time. 5 to 10 minutes of a break to do that intermittent exercise, to get your blood circulating, to help you live healthy, to give you some energy and allow you to just implement exercise when you know that you have a busy schedule.
Yeah, I think that's great because, in the summer times, I will take a 20-minute block or I'll even walk. Like if I have something, I might throw them in my pocket and just have a phone call and do my walk at the same time.
Yeah,
Finding
that's a
those
great
ways
idea.
to do that.
Great idea.
So the Global Awaken Summit's coming up February 24th to the 26th. Super excited. I miss living in Florida, so I'm excited to be back to Southern Florida again. So tell us, what are you going to be talking about at the Global Awaken Summit?
Well, just to give you a little bit, and then people can come to the summit and see us speak, right? But it'll be about resiliency. I'm going to tell a part of my story that most people have not heard. So it won't even be about the breast cancer. It's going to be about, a part of my origin story earlier on. And it's about, resiliency and kind of building up that superhero in you. And I'll just leave it at that.
I love that. No, and I think now more than ever, everyone had to at least grow resiliency muscle with the last 3 years, right?
Yes.
Or even if you never had one, you started to go, oh, maybe this is what that feels like.
Yes.
For some of us who grew up, I mean, my father died when I was 10. My mom got malignant melanoma when I was 15. I know resiliency. So like when the global pandemic, everyone's freaking out. I'm like, I'm so calm in amongst the storm because I'm used to being in the storm.
Yeah, and me too, for that matter. And you'll hear that part of my story, the storm part of my story, at the summit. But I'm like you as well. I'm used to it. My mom has been dealing with a lot of different ailments for the majority of my young adult and adult life. So, I've been there with her. I had breast cancer myself, and then, just life in general, being a single mom and all of that.
You're like, oh yeah, I get my workout in other ways.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, I actually decided, I'm like, I'm going to get outside. And I actually started to see, like, to me, the grass looked greener. The flowers looked like they were more in bloom than I've ever seen them before. But that's because I stopped to pay attention. And I actually started to notice this beautiful earth that we live on. Right. So it got me out doing the things that I wasn't doing before the pandemic, just to be outside a lot more. I was going to the gym and working out at home, but now this got me outdoors because I said, I'm not going to sit here, in the house, and I can go for a walk without having to wear a mask and breathe in some fresh air. And, there was less movement, so there was less pollution. So I just thought it was great, to be honest.
Oh, I get it. I lived in the hot spot. We lived in Seattle. We got COVID before COVID was a thing. I mean, like they didn't know. They tested me for every virus out there. Not COVID because it hadn't been like announced yet. And then we got tested for the antivirals or whatever. And sure enough, we had it. And so I was like, oh, but we had this huge wooded area behind us. And we would just go for walks with the dog. But the thing that I laughed about was, even though we're way out in the middle of the woods, right? We'd come across somebody and they would like jump out of the trail, right? To get away. I was like, okay, we're outside. Now they tell you like the household had COVID and they're like, go outside. It's good for you to go outside. And I was like, oh my God.
Exactly. You need the oxygen. And what people don't realize too is like our cells need oxygen. And when our cells get oxygen, they fight illness a lot better. So if you get outside and actually breathe in oxygen, you're doing good for your body. So
I love that. Well,
yeah.
I'm super excited for us to meet finally in person and get to know more about one another. I love the journey you're on and what and how you're helping women and people just get really, just more in tune and more aligned with having a temple as a skin suit and really
Yeah.
taking care of that. So I'm super excited. Please guys join us for the Global Awaken Summit and February 24th to 26th in Miami, Florida. The link will be in the comments. And anything, Tracie, I always ask the last question to every one of my guests, which is about your future self. So I consider my future self ELJ. She's a $40 million company, sat under the trees with Oprah, New York Times bestselling author. She's done all the things, right? When I need advice, I ask her for advice. So if I was to ask your future self to give you advice today, what would she say?
Oh, that's so good. I would say she would say, just breathe. You got this, girl. You know, just really stay the course and breathe and just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going,
I love that.
Yeah,
That's good. I love that because it's what we all need, right? And anytime I
absolutely.
ask this question, I love this because anything that people say is really a message that they could give to everybody else out there in the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you in Miami, February 24th to 26th. Thanks so much.
Thank you.